So, once again, Disney has saw fit to remake one of its classics, but not just any classic, the one that kicked off the Disney Renaissance, The Little Mermaid, based off the romantic tragedy by Hans Christian Andersen, the tale of a fishbutt who falls for a human and sacrifices everything to try to get him, only to lose everything, including him and her life. But Disney prefers a happy ending, so they get together in the end. This remake is extremely, utterly not bad, actually. Halle Bailey, that's Bailey, not Barry, a relative unknown to me at least, plays the titular character, and she's pretty convincing as a fishbutt who is smitten and can really, really sing. Her versions of the classic Ariel songs are pretty decent. They got an actress that can sing. Thank you. And her design is also pretty decent. Instead of wearing scallop shells, she wears scales, basically. The design of all the fish butts are very organic and believable. This makes basically a variety of mermaids and mermen who are convincing, if still a bit cartoonish. I still say Siren is the most accurate look of a fish butt, but this is a Disney movie, so they had to make everything extra colorful. But they still look good. As for everybody else, Javier Bardem is King Triton, and he plays it like Stoic the Vast. Emphasis on the stoicism. I feel like he has to keep an even keel no matter how angry he gets, because I believe his mood is tied to the oceans, and if he gets too upset, the oceans will go crazy. So that's my headcanon. His design is pretty good. He's armored up and old without looking ancient. Overall, I have no problem with his design or his acting. Ariel's diverse collection of sisters, they get small parts, but they shine. Sebastian and Flounder and Scuttle all get pretty decent screen time. Their looks they're okay. Sebastian's Jamaican accent, excuse me, is a little less pronounced, but it's still there. And he's less tortured, I think, in this version, and more of the put-upon sidekick. I thought his performance was okay. Flounder, he's there. He's less prominent because of Ariel's adventures outside the water, but I have no complaints over the kid. Scuttle is now a female, voiced by none other than Aquafina. She's all over the place, and honestly, I love her. She's funny, but in a simple way. No one's going to replace Buddy Epstein, though. But Aquafina did a pretty good job of succeeding him. Like, her Scuttle is like Buddy's Scuttle's daughter or granddaughter. And her performance was pretty decent. Prince Eric, played by some guy, I forget his name. He was okay too. He's a little more prominent, less of a plot point, more of a character. He made him more the guy made him more relatable, so that he and Ariel were birds of a feather, or in this case, fish of a scale. So they had something in common rather than just puppy love, or puppy fish love. Melissa McCartney did a really good job as Ursula. No one can replace the original, obviously, but Melissa's Ursula did a pretty good job. They made her related to Ariel and Triton, and honestly, both Ursula's and Eric's backstories were worth exploring in a prequel, actually. Hopefully, maybe someday we'll get a prequel to this version of the movie involving Ursula and Eric, because there was a whole bunch of backstory that I see potential in. Everybody's singing numbers were good. The music, I have no problem with. The classics were all there, plus a couple new ones. Even Scuttle got to sing in her own way. I will say this. I will spoil one bit of information. They did cut out one character and one sequence that really wasn't necessary, and I don't see how they could have included it without being offensive. Not to certain minorities, but to just fans of all the characters. Like, why would this one character be working for these other characters if he's the way he is? And I'm glad they got rid of that sequence, because I didn't care for it either in the original movie. They kept the focus on who they needed at the forefront. The story itself stays true to the original, but it feels a bit longer. Like they could have tightened it up here and there. Probably because they added a scene that was good. It showed island life in a positive way. The island nation that Prince Eric is a part of was shown as rustic and simple, but elegant in its own way. And the fact that they used practical sets for the above the water stuff really helped. The CGI for the underwater world, that was really good. Except for one scene towards the end of the movie. You'll know it when you see it. It's a big scene. Everything else looked really good. Very hyper-realistic. Very organic. And very lifelike. It's just that one scene towards the end that looked like they hadn't finished rendering it yet. But it still worked the way they set it up. You'll know it when you see it. Anyway. They had a challenge trying to do the various underwater sequences without line-drawn animation. They had to make it look real. And honestly, I thought they did a good job. Although I'd advise watching this, or not watching this in 3D. Avoid 3D. Otherwise you will get seasick. But as a 2D movie, this was really good. It still kind of popped out at you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. While it won't replace the original cartoon or even the original Hans Christian Andersen story, This version of The Little Mermaid was inoffensive to fans of the original. It brought the characters into the 21st century, and while certain plot points of the animated sequel probably wouldn't translate into a working live-action sequel, there is potential here for a prequel that I hope Disney would consider, because I wouldn't mind seeing more of this world, because they did a really good job with it. This is Mr. J signing out and reminding you, the ocean is very, very dangerous, but it has its beauty. Although it is important to avoid trusting fish butts before you get to know them, because you never know when the beautiful Ariel could end up being evil Ursula. Also, Javier Bardem is always intimidating. And congrats to Halle Bailey on her breakout performance. I hope to see more of her. Cheers.